Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is a Tuesday. See Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie Usen producing other side of the glass. Hope all is well in your world as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And for the very first time in the history of this network, which is a small one. It's a small history, right? It's a small history. I understand we've only been doing the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network here for a couple of weeks, but we are now live streaming on Twitter as well at WI Sports Radio. So now you can watch us, or X, whatever you call it, at WI Sports Radio on X. You can watch us on live streaming on YouTube as well at WI Sports Radio. And let us know what you think. I'm guessing we're going to like being on this new network. You know, when Jim Rome decided he was going this way, it was a whole big thing. Oh my goodness. Like, you would have thought he was going to announce he was going to run for president or something, as much as he built up this big announcement that he was going on X, Charlie. I don't feel like we need to do all of that, but it is cool to be on X live streaming.
Fun. It's fun to be more places. I'm afraid, like, people on X and Twitter can be a little more mean than people on YouTube. So, you know,
that's okay. I appreciate
some people already called me like kind of grungy looking.
Yep,
you know,
that'll happen.
Yeah, that'll happen. You know, I think that's kind of how I look too. So.
It's gotta happen when you're clean shaven. Nobody says anything. Everybody's like, "Oh, look at that young boy Charlie using over there." So thanks for tuning in. Coming up today, Sojourn Shelton II, former Badgers DB, part of the Money Down podcast on the Believe in Podcast Network. He'll join us coming up at 3 o'clock. We'll talk with former Badger DB at that point. I'm excited to see what Sojourn has to say. We talked with Matt Bernstein last week, the former Badger fullback from the Believe in Badgers network as well. And now this week, Sojourn Shelton, get his thoughts on Luke Fickell, get his thoughts on the Badgers. Again, that comes up at 3 o'clock. 3:40, Charlie Sounds of the Day, top 3 clips from around the world of sports. Looking forward to that. Green and Gold update at 4 o'clock. We get into Matthew Golden at 4 o'clock. And lots in between now and then. We'll start off the show today talking about what happened last night in the world of sports.
Los Angeles. Foreman sends a fly ball to center field. Varsho's going back before the clock strikes midnight. Freddie Freeman has ended it. It's a repeat hero with the last word on a Game 3 classic.
Freddie Freeman walk-off homer there, and I will tell you that I was definitely not up to watch a Freddie Freeman walk-off homer last night. I was not. And if you know me, you know.
I thought you never sleep.
But when the Brewers get eliminated, I am pretty much out at that point. Like, good luck to y'all. Hope it all works out. On social media, I was following along as this thing was continuing to go and go and go and not end. The coolest thing, in my opinion, that happened last night, and there's lots of cool moments, right? Ohtani, on base 9 times in the game. That's crazy. Intentionally walking him, not letting him hit. Him getting on base at one point, trying to steal second, and gets thrown out trying to steal second base, and Dave Roberts loses his mind in the dugout when he gets thrown out at second base. So lots of cool things occurred. The coolest thing for me that happened was Yamamoto. Dude, I'm not a Dodger fan, but I think he's my new favorite Dodger. Yamamoto might have won me over last night. That might have been it. Yamamoto was the last guy to pitch, right? 9 complete innings. After he threw 9 against the Brewers, he throws 9 against the Dodgers, goes up to Dave Roberts and says, "Hey, I want to pitch. I'm good. I'll go pitch. Let me go back in there and pitch." Roberts like, "Really?" "Yeah, man." "Okay." So Yamamoto was out in the pen warming up, getting ready to come into the game, and Ohtani was out there with him, and he was getting ready to come in. They win. Yamamoto and Ohtani come running out, and they don't go celebrate with their teammates. They're jumping up and down with their translators up and down in the outfield, celebrating together. I think there was 4 of them, all jumping up and celebrating. Hey, man, I'm sure other Major League Baseball pitchers probably would have done the same thing as Yamamoto. I don't know. But to me, that was cool. That was cool for Yamamoto. If Dave Roberts didn't go to him and go, hey, can you pitch? Yamamoto went to Dave Roberts and said, hey, I can go. Let me pitch. I'll go back in there and help out. Because at that point, you're talking about 2 full games. I mean, they've run out everybody. And if this was a regular season game, by about inning 13, both teams probably would have been throwing position players just to get the game over so they didn't burn their pen. It's the World Series. You can't just run position players out there and give up a game in the World Series. You got to use everybody and worry about tomorrow, Charlie.
Definitely. How many innings do you think Aaron Ashby would have pitched in this game if it was Pat Murphy?
3 or 4.
At least 10.
At
least 10.
Yeah.
I feel like for somebody who's pitched as much as Yamamoto has pitched so far this postseason, how well he's pitched, to want to put yourself on the line and kind of this historic postseason that he has out there on the line like that is brave of him. He wants to go and win a World Series with this team. I think that's also part of what makes this Dodgers team so good. It isn't just that they are spending so much money, because the Blue Jays are spending a lot of money too. The Yankees spend a lot of money. A lot of these teams spend a lot of money. The Mets. But the Dodgers actually want to play baseball and win baseball too. They got a lot of players that are bought into the team, not only because of their contracts, but because they want to be on the field playing baseball. Clayton Kershaw never wants to retire because he loves playing for the Dodgers so much. There's something to that. It's not always just about the money. It helps a lot. It's a good 80% of it. But this last 20% that they have, no other team in baseball has.
Absolutely right. Charlie using over there, see Sparky Fifer over here. The question I have is a quite simple one. Has this World Series shown you just how far away the Brewers truly are from actually winning a World Series? Has this really kind of clarified to you as a Brewers fan how far away this team actually might be from winning a World Series? Nicolay Law, talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, socials at WI Sports Radio. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm telling you right now, after that Dodgers pitching staff shut down the Milwaukee Brewers the way they did in the NLCS going into the World Series, I was like, maybe the Blue Jays will get 1 or 2, but that's going to be about it. Dodgers are going to win this thing. Like, there's just no way they're overcoming that. Look now, Glasnow didn't get through 5 last night. 4 2/3 is already up at 85 pitches in that game. And these dudes are smacking the ball all over the place, making plays, all of that. If we're just talking about, well, the Brewers would have played better. Really? Do you think? I mean, let's say the Brewers, okay, quote, play better, meaning hit better, because pitching-wise, I don't think they could do much better than they did pitching at this point. But if you look at it from a Brewer perspective, man, they don't got the horses like the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are much closer from a talent perspective with the Dodgers than the Brewers ever potentially could be. Like, it's not even remotely close. And a couple of days ago, I saved this on Twitter. In fact, I was talking with Tommy Wirtz about this earlier today before his show. Jack Stern tweeted this out from brewerfanatic.com. You never checked out the website. It's amazing. Check it out. It's all Brewers content, and they do a great job with staff of writers. Jack Stern tweeted out, the Blue Jays do what the Brewers do, but better, right? So home runs, Toronto hit 191 home runs this year to the Brewers 166. Okay, fine. Strikeout percentage. Brewers are pretty good. They don't strike out a lot. The Blue Jays strike out even less than the Brewers. 20.4% for the Brewers, only 17.8% for the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, walk percentage, Brewers got them there, 8.8 to 8%. Okay, fine. But then you start talking about hard hit rate, 41% to 39.5%. And you go, well, that's not that much. It's only a percentage and a half. But over the course of a season, that is that much. Barrel percentage. This means you hit the ball in the sweet spot, in the right spot of the bat, right? You're not jamming it. You're not hitting it off the end of the bat. This is 6.7% for the Brewers, which puts them, near the bottom, right? Toronto, 8.2. That's a gigantic gap between those two. So if you want to start talking about how do they take the next step, how do you go from where they were to where the Blue Jays and Dodgers are right now, for me, yes, home runs is a thing. That barrel percentage, Charlie, that's a whole nother thing that can be talked about and lamented, I think, this offseason, and that is these young guys getting better at bats and hitting the ball harder.
Well, what's weird is that William Contreras for the past couple of seasons has been one of the best players in the league when it came to barrel percentage. And this year kind of felt like he didn't get back to that until halfway through the season. I think with a lot of these young players, yeah, you do have to lament it with them. But I was talking about this during the season. You could see it, especially later on in the season when these guys started getting a little bit more fatigued as they were making the contact, but it was resulting in a lot of weak grounders that were double play balls. Christian Yelich was doing that in the postseason the entire time. He hates worms, apparently. Or they were popping it up to shallow left or center field because they were making the contact enough. Sure, they could see the ball well enough. They were taking those walks. But when it came time to drive in runs, when it came time to make something happen with an extra base hit, they could not get it done because they were so tired and because it's just not a part of their game in the first place.
He's Charlie Usett, see Sparky Fifer with you. How has this World Series, has it shown you just how far away the Brewers are from potentially getting to a World Series, number one, and number two, winning a World Series at the end of the day? And again, besides the fact that nobody on this team is probably getting on base 9 times in a game, right? Let's just be honest, right? Churio, okay, maybe he's close to that. Yelich, okay, maybe. But Giannis and Ohtani, similar in their sports, okay? Now, Giannis has a bigger impact because he touches the ball all the time. He can play defense and block shots and rebound. So it's different in baseball and basketball. But that ultra superstar, that over-the-top guy, what Ohtani is, the Brewers don't have that guy. Nobody in baseball has that guy. Ohtani is probably the best baseball player that not probably. He is the best baseball player I've seen in my lifetime. And you can bring up the cheater bonds. Do what you want. All I'm saying is I'm not going down that path talking about Barry Bonds versus Ohtani one way or the other. For me, it's Ohtani. If you want to defend Barry and say, well, before the allegations of this and that, go ahead. But in my lifetime, Ohtani's the best. Barry Bonds also did not pitch, let me remind you. So because the Brewers don't have that, then what needs to happen? Okay, well then if you're going to beat the Dodgers in the World Series or you're going to beat the Blue Jays, you've got to win on most other spots in the lineup 1 through 9, right? You've got to win. So if Ohtani's going to be, boom, that much better than everybody else, then you better win at the 2-hole. You better win at the 3-hole. You better win at 4 or 5. Offensively, that's where it is. Pitching-wise, I'm not worried about Brewers pitching. When we're stacking up them to the Blue Jays, to the Dodgers, Brewers pitching is fine. Maybe they don't have Hall of Famers like the Dodgers. Maybe not. But they've got enough pitching to keep them in games. They proved that against the Dodgers. That's not the issue. The issue is these Freliks, the Tarangs, the Churios, when do they go to the next atmosphere, right? The next hemisphere, whatever you want to call it. When do you get there? Tarang took a step this year with his power. Is there anything more that he can get to? Is Tarang at his ceiling and that's all he's going to do? Freeling, he showed more power than we thought. This is where he's capped? Are the Brewers stuck where they are until the minors get through, right? So you get Luis Pena up here. So you get Jesus Mate up here. When you start getting some of these other guys up here, maybe then from a talent perspective, you can start talking about World Series. But for me, they're not as close as I thought they were. They're just not. The way the Blue Jays are playing the Dodgers, after the way I watched the Brewers play the Dodgers, it's not remotely close. Nikolay Law, Talker text line, what say you? 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Socials at WI Sports Radio, including live streaming on X right now, as well as on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. So everywhere you want us to be now, X, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere you want us to be. The only place we're not yet is TikTok. That's the only place we haven't gotten to yet.
I think you can make some good TikTok videos, Sparky. I think you could do some good dances. You could. First
thing about TikTok or videos or however else that would be. Would I be willing to do something goofy to do something for you? Sure, I'd be willing to do. Yeah, absolutely.
We were talking about Halloween costumes for you earlier. Me and Mitch and Tommy.
Oh, Halloween costumes. What's that?
We said Papa Smurf. We think that'd be pretty good.
I totally do that.
Okay, you paint your face and everything?
Sure.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I'd absolutely do that. Yeah, for sure. In fact, that's a great family idea for me and the
yeah,
family.
Exactly.
Like everybody could play a different Smurf.
Exactly.
Yes, I would totally do Papa Smurf.
Cool. There you go.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Dude, I've been a Care Bear with my family before. I've been walking around neighborhoods. I've been Batman. I've been a ninja. Yeah, I've dressed up for the family before,
All right.
so I'm not opposed to dressing
All right.
up.
Friday, I can't wait to see you in Smurf makeup for the show.
I don't think I have Smurf makeup
well,
just
we
lying
can
around.
figure it out. You know, we got.
I would totally dress up as a Smurf
right.
for the show.
All right, we can definitely do
But
it.
we have to figure out who's applying it and how that's all going to look.
I think
but
Mitch should be the applier. I think he can do good.
Who?
Mitch. Thunder.
Mitch Nellis?
Yeah.
No chance. No, it's not absolutely freaking not. No. All right. So the answer here is I don't think they're close. What say you? Do you think they're close?
I think so. I think the way that the Toronto Blue Jays have played against the LA Dodgers pitching so far, all you're seeing is exactly what we're saying. Their bats have just been a little bit better and more consistently powerful than the Milwaukee Brewers have been. The Dodgers pitching is still pitching great. Yamamoto still went 9 innings against the Toronto Blue Jays like he did against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Right.
They are that good. I think the Brewers just have to face them around earlier. At this point, going into the series, I thought the Dodgers were going to win the World Series.
So
It didn't really matter.
Time out.
Yeah. What's
Time out. So you think if the Brewers took on the Dodgers and say a best of 3, the Brewers would have a better chance. If they took them on in a best of 5, the Brewers would have a better chance. But when you get to 7, that's where small market Milwaukee and what they have gets left behind possibly.
I wouldn't say that. I would just say that if the Brewers were in the American League and got to face them in the World Series, you could maybe be seeing what you're seeing against the Blue Jays right now. I don't think the Brewers played terribly against the Dodgers in the NLCS. It was a disappointing series for sure. Yes, the bats did not get going for sure, but it was also something I think a lot of people saw coming just based on what we saw in that last month of the season for them. They were getting tired and they were playing really tough series against the Chicago Cubs before that. I think these are big things that you got to think about here. And that if they were in a different situation, maybe with more pressure in the World Series, I know the NLCS is already a lot of pressure, but in the World Series, maybe you get a couple more extra innings games. It still looks like the Dodgers are going to go out and win this series. They won that game last night. They won the game the other day. Shohei Ohtani looks like the best player I've ever seen, one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen. I mean, you got to give them the credit. The Brewers aren't that far away. The Dodgers are just that good.
It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Thanks to our affiliates across the state of Wisconsin, WNFL in Green Bay and Appleton, 99.7 FM, Wausau, 93.9 The Game, Duluth, Superior, 710 The Game, and of course, in Milwaukee on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Follow us on all the socials, WI Sports Radio, live streaming on X and on YouTube as well. Are we doing right now? If you are new to the show, maybe you're finding us on X and you're like, hey, what are these fools talking about? Is it just Wisconsin sports? Yeah, we talk a lot of Wisconsin sports, but the other thing about this show is we change topics pretty much every segment. So if you don't like something in the first segment, just hang out, because the second segment is going to be something different. If you like something in the second segment, hang out, because we're going to change it going into the third segment. We keep it moving. We try not to hang on anything onto one set topic very long, maybe a little bit different than other sports talk radio you've heard, but that's kind of the motto that we have here. Coming up in the next segment, should the Packers have done a better job at getting Jordan Love 21 straight completions? Now, you may be asking, well, how exactly are they going to do that? Jordan Love's the one throwing the football. I understand. But Jordan Love was on Kay Adams, on Up and Adams earlier today, and I was astonished to hear what I heard from him. Sports Talk on Wisconsin Radio, Sports Radio Network is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Sports Radio Network, I should say. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie using the other side of the glass. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. Thanks so much for tuning in. Do appreciate it. Now live on X streaming, as well as on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, same socials there as well. Jordan Love was on Up and Adam with Kay Adams. And for those of you that aren't aware, Kay Adams has been rooting for the Packers for what now? This is her third year rooting since Jordan Love kind of got in there?
She's the reason Micah Parsons is there, according to her.
Yes, that is true. And she deserves...
The people's GM, I think she calls herself.
Yes, correct. Yes, that is very true and very interesting to know that. Jordan Love was the guest today. We have some clips we can play for you as well. But the question I have is, should the Packers have done a better job at getting Jordan Love 21 straight completions? Now, as we talked about yesterday, I didn't realize he was at like 15, 18 until they said it on TV, right? I knew he was playing well. I didn't know it was at that level. So they're like 18. That's 20. That ties Brett Favre in 2007. Tommy Wirtz, who does the Green Bay football postgame show with me, powered by Lakeland University, after Packer games here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, he's like, dude, just a little swing pass out to the running back. Just get him the record. Just throw it right out there. Easy pass. Get him the record so he can be in the books. And instead, hike, pressure, throws it short of Tucker Kraft just to get rid of it so you didn't take a sack, and that's how it ended. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Could have just been an easy pass. Well, come to find out on Up and Adams with Kay Adams today, Jordan Love didn't even know.
No, I actually had no idea, honestly. I didn't know until after the game somebody told me, and I told Matt, joke around, I'm like, man, I wish somebody would have told me. I wouldn't have dirted the one I did to Tuck. Try to keep that thing going. But no, I had no idea. It's one of those things. I mean, you're not thinking about that during the game. You're just going out there playing, and it's cool stuff to look at after. But definitely wish somebody would have told me so I could have kept it going.
Somebody should have told him. I don't understand how this is. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know what an NFL sideline is like and who's in charge of what and so forth. But in my mind, if the TV people knew that it was at 20, somebody on those sidelines should have also known that it was at 20 and he had Favre tied. Now, I don't care if it was a media relations intern or whoever. Once he got to about 17 or so, somebody should have walked up to one of those coaches and said, hey, not sure if y'all are aware, but he's at 17 straight. The record is 20 with Brett Favre in 2007, just in case you all may want to know this one way or the other, and then let that coach do what they want. But somebody should have said something to he would have been in the record books today. That would have been awesome. And he is there technically tied with Brett, but it really would have been cool for him to have that record.
Was it still awesome? What he did? Was the game still awesome? Was his performance awesome to you?
He didn't even try on that throw. He even said, he goes, I wouldn't have dirted that had I known I had a chance for that.
Yeah, he says that, but he also says it with a smirk. It's not really something that matters that much to him. I think
look,
it's cool. It would have been awesome if your name was there, but also I think he's thinking, we got to win. I had probably the best game of his career in the regular season.
I'll give you an example. So if you're in a baseball game, right, and you have some rookie at bat, first at bat, and that ball gets a base hit or whatever, if people are paying attention, that ball gets thrown into the dugout, out of play. They mark something on it. They put it away in a cooler or whatever, and then eventually that guy gets it later. But they take care of it because that's important to that guy. If in basketball, somebody's coming up on a milestone in scoring points or whatever the case may be, somebody nudges or tells somebody, hey, just so you know, he's a basket away from whatever, 5,000 points or 3,000 points, whatever the number is, in order to do that, to give you a heads up. And then maybe you're running a play or two trying to get him that number. Or if a guy's a basket from a triple-double in the fourth quarter, and the coach is like, all right, let's run a play. Let's get him this triple-double here. They do this. This happens in sports where coaches help out their players get a record or get it to a special benchmark in their career or a moment in their career. That was pretty cool. I don't know if Jordan Love will ever do that again in his career. But considering Aaron Rodgers never did it, odds are stacked against him that he never does 20 in a row. And if he does, oh my goodness. But odds are he doesn't ever get a chance to do that again. That's why, to me, I would have, I don't know. Obviously, they don't have a system set up or whatever, or somebody dropped the ball one way or the other.
Well, I think a majority of those examples that you brought up are predictable milestones, stuff that you can see coming within like the next month or two if it's going to happen. So like the scoring milestones for a single team or whatnot, or a single season milestone. This is something that's just kind of in the heat of a game. It's a game where it had a lot bigger implications than it just being a regular season football game. People had other stuff on their mind. I don't think that Jordan Love, yes, he probably wanted that, but there were other things. He wanted to beat Aaron Rodgers really bad. I think that was the biggest thing. And he got that. He did that. He made a name for himself on the biggest stage he had this season so far. That was the biggest deal. And yeah, this is something that it would have been cool if he had, but I don't think it's something that, we need to harp on as much. It's awesome, the game he still had. It's still awesome that he got 20 straight completions.
I'll tell you right now, if that was me, I would have been a little miffed. Like, how do you not tell me that I have a chance to get this record and I'm one away? You couldn't have. Somebody should have known something on the sidelines if the damn TV announcers knew on the TV. I'd be a little miffed. I'll be honest. I would be. Ego, whatever you want to call it. But I would be miffed if I was one away from breaking Brett Favre's record and nobody said it.
If I'm Jordan Love, I'm saying, damn, maybe next time hop into my Lambo and go back to my mansion.
See, that's the difference in our personalities, right? That Charlie's more carefree, loving, chilled, whatever. Just roll the punches, see what happens. I am not that guy. More Jordan Love on Up with Adams talking about that jersey swap with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers said, hey, man, I'm not talking about it. Right? This is between me and him. I'm not talking about it because we were all expecting, because Love talked about it, that they were going to do this jersey swap on the field and we were all going to get to see it. And then it never happened. This is what he said.
Yeah, no, I told him I need that jersey. He said he'll send it in the locker room. And so, yeah, we did jersey swap. We sent them to each other's locker room. So I got that jersey, which is awesome. It's a really cool moment. Definitely something that will be hanging on my wall. And just, like I said, I'm grateful for that moment between us.
I think that's pretty cool. Didn't they just start doing this in the last, decade or so? These jersey swaps. If it was happening before, back in the 60s or the 70s and the 80s, I don't remember ever reading about Babe Ruth swapping with somebody or Bart Starr swapping jerseys or Ray Nitschke swapping jerseys with Dick Butkus. Like, I don't remember ever seeing those stories or black and white footage.
Jerseys weren't as big of a deal back then. I don't think they were as big of a cultural sensation back when like Bart Starr.
You mean
and
like value of them?
Well, I just mean like everybody having them and people growing up with them in their collections. Like, I think a lot of the players now and within the past decade, they grew up where that was a Christmas gift. You were getting your favorite players' jerseys and stuff. So it was just kind of a part of the way that you grew up. So when you do get to that level, it's really cool to collect players' jerseys that have game worn them. I don't think back when Bart Starr and Ray Nitschke were around, people were getting jerseys as
probably
much more
not
popular.
Yeah.
And that it might have been cool to swap jerseys, but the guys just didn't care about it as much because they didn't grow up with that.
Yeah, that's a great point. See, that's why he's on the show. Charlie using everybody. Jordan Love talking about his 33-yard completion to Christian Watson on Up and Adams.
It's one of those plays at the line of scrimmage. We're trying to see what kind of coverage they're in, and I was thinking it might be, cover one. And that's something that we noticed throughout the week, that their post safeties, they do like to try and jump some of the underneath through routes and different things over the middle. And so, getting Christian back, he's our deep play guy. And so we gave him a post on the outside. And, I felt like I was getting a little bit more pressure than what was there. So I started scrambling right. I really don't know if I needed to. And just kept my eyes down the middle and saw that the post safety was playing pretty low. And we had Christian over the top. And I tried to just give him, a ball that, he'd be able to come back to. And I thought, when I saw that safety start backing up like that, I thought he was going to be able to make a play. And the ball was able to go right past him. And Christian made a big time catch.
Can I just remind everybody of something on this, just real quickly? Because yesterday I started off the show yelling and screaming at those people that were anti-Jordan Love people and anti-Matt LaFleur people. And we talked about what more do you need to see, right? Are you done doubting everything? Because in the first half of that game on Sunday, our Nicolay Talker text line, even though we didn't have a show on until after the game, was flooded with people. I'm going to bed. Screw this team. They're not that good. That's all I was seeing. So I led the Green Bay Football postgame show. Go and listen to that where we download your favorite podcast at, or back on YouTube where we streamed it live. And I'd start reading off some of these on Twitter, some of these on text message, about everybody just banging on Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. And then they come back and put up that great second half. That throw that Jordan Love made to Christian Watson, Jordan Love's going to do that again. Yeah, he is. He's going to do that same throw again. And you know what might happen the next time? It might get intercepted. Now, I want you all to remember that throw to Christian Watson the next time he does something similar and it gets picked. Because with the good comes the bad, like Brett Favre. He's going to do the, oh, no, oh, yeah, what a great move, right? Oh, no, you're an idiot. What are you doing, Brett, right? But you knew with the good comes the bad. With Jordan Love, same thing. Even Jordan Love himself said, I threw it up. I didn't know where it was going. I was hoping he was going to catch it and nothing bad happened. He didn't even see it get caught by Tucker Carlson because he was on his backside after he got hit. So with Jordan Love, there's going to come in the good and the bad. But when he throws a pick in a similar situation, chill. Just relax. Because he's going to do stuff like he did there where it's going to turn out good too, Charlie.
We've seen a whole lot more of good Jordan Love this season than bad Jordan Love this season. I think when people compare him to Brett Favre, sometimes it feels like they're saying it as like disrespectful, or they think it's like a downside that he's like Brett Favre. Brett Favre's one of the top 10 greatest quarterbacks of all time, man.
Yes.
Like there was a lot more good Brett Favre than there was bad Brett Favre too on the field. Like that is something that I think most people are neglecting right now. So when you say that about Jordan Love, that's a good thing. And right now, so far this season, we've seen a lot of good Jordan Love and a lot of good Brett Favre style play through Jordan Love.
Yeah, no question about it. Take a quick time out. Come back out on the other side. Pablo Torre and David Sampson. And again, David Sampson is a guy that used to be the Marlins general manager, actually team president of the Marlins. And since he was let go of that position and he walked away from the Marlins position years ago, he's been in the media and he's been on this show numerous times during the baseball season and so forth. Well, he was on with Pablo Torre earlier today talking about the gambling scandal in the NBA and the job now that Adam Silver has to do and the predicament that Adam Silver is in and the Miami Heat with Rozier and all of that. So we'll get to some of that coming up. Couple of text messages coming in here on the Nicolay Law text line concerning the idea of getting Jordan Love that 21 number. 715 says, this is a big nothing burger. The record means nothing. I don't think he would care. Win the game. Okay. If you think that's true, 715, well, God bless you. I don't believe that to be true at all. The game was in hand at that point, if you remember correctly. They were comfortably up at that point in the game when he had thrown his 20th consecutive pass. This wasn't like they were down 3 and he was trying to get the lead back. That's not what this was. Maybe you weren't watching the game. I don't know. 920 says, I wouldn't want anyone on my team that's more concerned about individual statistics than winning the game. Keep your eye on the prize. Ron Rome, I'll tell you the same thing. They were up, man. Quit acting like this was they were down 3 or they were down 7 or whatever. That's not what this was. It's just not. And furthermore, I hate to break news to you. Most professional athletes care about their individual records, care about their individual stats, care about how much money they're making. That's most of them. Maybe you got 1 or 2 that ain't like that, but most professional athletes are like that. Want to know why? Because their careers don't get to be 50 years working in a bank or 40 years working in a bank or 30 years working on the radio or whatever the case may be. Their careers are much shorter. So they have a short amount of time frame to make as a big of an impact as they possibly can, to have as many memories as they possibly can make, to win as much as they can or put up numbers. Joe Thomas, he was just on the other day on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. He was on yesterday morning with our guys inside Wisconsin Sports with Josh and Trevor. And guess what? He didn't see the playoffs. He was stuck in Cleveland. He played a long career. And as an offensive tackle, yes, he's a Hall of Famer and all of that, and that is great. He made his big impact. Never saw the playoffs. Definitely didn't see a Super Bowl or anything of that sort. But he made the biggest impact he could while he was there. It's no different than anybody else that you put in that situation. To say, oh, Jordan Love's selfish because she wanted to know that it was going for 21. And get out of here with that stuff. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Well, this dude called in?
He did.
All right, good. Let's go. Ron in Rome. Rome? All right. What's up, Ron? How are you doing? You're on the Nicolay Law Talking text line.
Yeah, good. Well, first of all, let me address your point there. You say the game was in hand.
Yes.
I've been a Packer fan a long time. I remember when the Seattle NFC Championship was well within hand.
So was I. It was a 5 minutes of death.
I remember 4th and 26 with the Eagles.
Freddie Freeman, baby, UCLA. Yep.
I don't think the game's ever in hand. But so that's not what I called
I'm
about.
almost 50, Ron. I've seen probably as many games as you have, or right around the same number. So I've lived through all of it too.
All right. Well, now that I'm old, I forgot what I called about.
Now you're just like me, Ron. I appreciate you. Have a good day, Ron. Take care. Oh, you forgot what he called about. See, that's all right. Us old people, we can relate. Charlie can't relate to us old people. He
I
will
forget
one
things
day.
too.
He
That's
will
more
one
from
day.
my football experience. Yeah,
Oh,
probably.
the
Like Tucker crafting his helmet on his head.
Yeah.
I did that before every game. It was awesome. Got me juiced up, man.
a lot of people think that's how my head got so big by doing something like that and just swelled over the course of time, but that's not actually what happened. All right, coming up next, we'll talk about Pablo Torre, talking about Adam Silver and the NBA betting scandal and what David Sampson had to say about this whole thing. Because my question to you is simply, what's your move? If you're the commissioner of the NBA and all of this is laying at your feet, you had cleared Rozier of any wrongdoing and let him sign a deal in Miami with the Heat, which now he's not going to probably play for quite some time if he ever gets back on the court. How do you handle this if you're Adam Silver? Because now you got, what was it, the Senate subcommittee or whatever, somebody, oversight committee. Now they're involved wanting to know the investigative procedures that the NBA do to investigate gambling scandals. So now you got the government involved sniffing around what you do. What's your next move if you're Adam Silver? It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Speaking of the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Potawatomi is giving away over $300,000 in prize. It's autumn action. Yep, you heard that right. Over $300,000 in prizes, courtesy of our friends over at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Autumn action runs November 1st through the 20th. So that means it starts this Saturday. You can earn entries playing with your rewards card. Prize drawings happen on Thursdays between 5 and 8 p.m. If you win, you get to pick your prize from the prize board. All leftover prizes go into a rollover jackpot drawing. For more info, go online at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 years of age or older and a rewards member to play. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live in Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Speaking of Wendy's, if you love Wendy's classic chocolate vanilla frosty flavors, there's some big news. All new Frosty Swirls and now Frosty Fusions. It's the same creamy taste you've always loved, now with a flavor refresh. What are the new flavors? All right, we got the Frosty Swirls. So strawberry, brownie batter, caramel. Here's a tip. I've been telling you this for a while now. Ask for extra swirl when you get the swirl or the fusion. Now I know, what's the fusion? Okay, first of all, you get the bases. You get the chocolate or the vanilla base Frosty ice cream, right? And then you go with the swirl. Then the fusion, you have the brownie batter with the Oreo. You have the caramel with the caramel crunch, which is pieces of toffee, and the caramel crunch fusion. And then you have Pop-Tart strawberry. So those little mini strawberry Pop-Tarts you can buy in the store, like the snack packs, those are what is inside of this one with the strawberry swirl. So clock in for sweet treat time with Wendy's all new Frosty flavors. So refresh on a classic. It's got to be Wendy's. So Pablo Torre, who has done a great job of being an investigative researcher and breaking all the different stories and so forth, has obviously his own podcast, his own show, and so forth. And he had on today John Skipper, who used to run ESPN for the longest of times. And he has on David Sampson, who is a guy that used to be president of the Florida Marlins back in the day, who we've had on this show and other shows have had on as well. And they get into the NBA batting scandal on Terry Rozier and all of these guys. And Sampson was hot to trot about the whole idea with the Miami Heat now, who signed Rozier to a deal after the NBA cleared Terry Rozier. And now he's allegedly in trouble with the FBI. Well, he is in trouble. We just don't know how this is going to come out on the other side. And as you listen to this, David Sampson's talking about, like, if I was the Heat, I'd sue Adam Silver in the NBA. This is ridiculous because he cleared him from the first gambling scandal and put him back out there. And then Sampson gets into talking about if he were Adam Silver, how he would treat this.
They're not going to file a lawsuit against Adam. If I were Mickey, I'd want to, but they're not going
Mickey
to.
Harrison, the owner of the Heat.
If I'm Adam Silver, I'm a little despondent today because I'm living with this, and I've been pretty out front on the gambling thing. And now my league is really the one that keeps getting caught, and he's going to have to do something about it. And I would assume that Billups and Rozier's, their careers are done, but he's going to have to do more than just a 3-word statement that came out the day it happened.
What Adam did, one of the first things he did, it was interesting. I was thinking back to 2014, and I'm reliving that year for a particular reason, not just because it's roughly a decade ago in the same time frame when David Sampson is monitoring, these Twitter scandals involving his employees about gambling. Adam Silver does 2 things. Number one, he orchestrates the great fanfare, the sale of the Clippers from Donald Sterling to Steve Ballmer. The other thing that happens in November, the other second, you could argue, big thing that he does as the commissioner of the NBA is on November 13th, 2014, he publishes an op-ed in the New York Times titled Legalize and Regulate Sports Betting.
No other commissioners were on that byline.
Nope.
If you recall, if you go back to that.
Yep. I'm looking at it right now.
How many other commissioners? Was Goodell there? Manfred, Bettman?
It was a single byline.
One guy.
Well, and one of his points was legalized gambling would make it easier for us to catch. And that was borne out in this instance. I'm puzzled as to why the league cleared him in an investigation.
We're all puzzled why the league cleared Terry Rozier, John Skipper. We're all puzzled by that same thing. Couple of things to note here. Number one, Adam Silver is the same guy, okay, that talked about putting casinos in like every stadium and having casinos there. You have casinos. You have a casino in the United Center, do you not? I'm pretty sure they have a casino in the United Center for the Bulls. There's a casino right there, man. And I was red flagging all of this back when this was originally happening. And I just kept saying, man, are you kidding me? Are you telling me that you can't have something going on between a player and his friends or his family members or whatever the case is? Now, did I see the mafia tie-in coming, allegedly? No, I didn't see like 3 or 4 mafia families being involved in this at the end of the day. I didn't see that coming. Maybe I should have because it's gambling and money and so forth. Maybe we all should have seen this coming. But the question now is, how are you going to disassociate yourself? Are you going to cancel your sponsorships and try and get out of your sponsorships? If you're the NFL, MLB, and NBA or whatever, are you getting out of a deal with DraftKings? Are you getting out of a deal with FanDuel? Are you exiting Stage Live and going, they're no longer going to be involved with us going forward? Is that the play? And then does that clear things? How about this? Does the government get involved and shut down daily fantasy across the board and say that no longer is going to be allowed in the U.S.? If you do that, you're going to have to go outside the country or whatever else, because that's going to cost a lot of people a lot of money if that happens. I like daily fantasy. I love doing prize picks. Obviously, I talk about it all the time. But that may be another move if they want to make sure this doesn't continue to happen.
I mean, if the FBI, the government, has to dig into the commissioner of this league, then you kind of have to dig into everybody that's underneath him and everybody that's underneath them and underneath them. This may shut down the NBA, not just daily fantasy.
No,
I don't know.
It won't shut down
if
the
there's
NBA.
more than what we found already or what they've found already, Sparky, there's a lot to unpack here, which could take some time, and keep playing games will not allow that.
All right, coming up next, Sojourn Shelton, former Badgers DB from the Money Down podcast and the Believe It Network. Can't wait to talk with him about the state of the Wisconsin Badgers. Luke Fickell, Chris McIntosh, quarterback. I think Sojourn Shelton could play better than their quarterback right now. We'll discuss all of that up next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's.